From the Cronkite studios in downtown Phoenix, this is Cronkite News.
Tonight, for the first time, new data shows a huge decrease in the number of Mexican migrants in the U.S.
Plus, President Trump looks to Governor Doug Ducey for advice on Arizona's licensing laws and making it easier for people to work.
And hot temperatures in the valley are cause for concern for many. We'll share how one nonprofit provides more than just water for the homeless.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Sabina Zovchik.
And I'm Gabriel Moreno. Thank you for joining us.
A Pew Research study has found that the number of unauthorized Mexican immigrants in the country has decreased.
Cronkite News reporter Bain Froney tells us why.
The unauthorized immigrant population has changed in 17 states in the U.S. over a decade. In Arizona, that population decreased by 220,000. The number of unauthorized immigrants from Mexico dropped significantly, according to the Pew Research Center. One reason? More immigrants have left the United States than have arrived. Tomas Robles, co-executive director of Living United for Change in Arizona, says the economy is one cause.
As we see these shifts in population in terms of undocumented immigrants and folks coming over, it's more related to the economic stability in their own countries.
Pew says that Mexicans accounted for 47% share of unauthorized immigrants, less than the majority for the first time in half a century. For this activist, this research contradicts the U.S. administration's stance that the U.S. is overrun by illegal immigration.
I think where we get into danger is when we allow an administration or somebody in power to make people believe that it is a crisis when in fact it is not.
The report says that unauthorized immigrants from Central America and Asia have increased over the same decade. In the newsroom, Bain Froney, Cronkite News.
He sold the bullets that supplied ammo to the shooter of the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Now he's requesting a trial by judge, not jury. Douglas Haig is on trial in relation to the deadly Las Vegas shooting from 2017. His attorney claims that a jury can't deliver an impartial verdict because of their passion and prejudice regarding the case. A judge denied Haig's previous request to move the trial to Arizona. The U.S. District Judge in charge of the case now hasn't made a decision on the latest request. Haig pled not guilty to illegally making tracer and armor-piercing bullets in his home in Mesa. Prosecutors say his fingerprints were found on the unfired bullets inside the hotel room.
Universal licensing recognition. It's the new law that makes it easier for people who are licensed in another state to start practicing their trade here in Arizona. The law was the first of its kind in the nation, and it got a warm reception today at a meeting in the White House, as Julian Paras reports from our Washington bureau.
When President Donald Trump looked to governors for ideas on how to make jobs more accessible, he didn't have to look far. He turned to Arizona Governor Doug Ducey, sitting by his side.
We moved on to what we call universal recognition of occupational licensing. Not only is our economy booming right now, but our state is growing. We've got people coming from all over the country.
Coming from all over the country to Arizona, where the universal licensing recognition law credits them for professional licenses they earned in other states. By recognizing the skills of people who have been licensed for at least a year in their profession, workers can save time and money and can get to work faster. The president applauded Arizona for its universal licensing law, a lead he thinks other states should follow.
I applaud Governor Ducey, and I always have. He's doing a fantastic job in a fabulous state. Right? Arizona's you're doing good for pioneering the change, and we hope that other states are going to follow Arizona's lead.
Ducey was part of a bipartisan group of 8 governors called to the White House to share ideas from their states that benefit workers and workforce mobility. Laws that improve worker opportunity are laws that benefit the little guy, Ducey says.
The working man, the person that comes to town or to our state, they want to earn a living and they want to get to work, and we believe it's a good reform.
But while he was talking to other governors about Arizona's law, Ducey was also listening for ideas from other states.
Just like I learned from many of the ladies and gentlemen around the table here, governors take good ideas and reapply them. Everyone here is welcome to take this idea and reapply it in your state.
Arizona may have been the first state with universal licensing, but it likely won't be the last. The president told his members at today's meeting that they need to look into licensing laws. Reporting from the White House, Julian Paras, Cronkite News.
The governors weren't the only celebrities in the White House today, or the biggest stars. Their meeting came just hours before Kim Kardashian joined President Trump at a White House event to talk about improving job opportunities for former prison inmates.
Newly elected Mayor Kate Gallego held her first State of the City address since taking office in March. Cronkite News reporter Amanda Slee was at the speech where the mayor discussed how she wants to see the city progress.
Mayor Kate Gallego talked about many important issues to the city of Phoenix, including infrastructure, businesses, and students. Yet the mayor always came back to what she says is the biggest movers of the city's economy, light rail.
Let's face it, keeping light rail is just common sense. With more people moving to Phoenix, traffic is getting worse, especially in the central city. Light rail is simply the most effective way to move large numbers of people in finite spaces. On Central Avenue, light rail can carry almost twice as many people per hour as cars.
Gallego also praises the light rail's expansion for helping reduce the amount of emissions from cars. The mayor said she was incredibly optimistic about the direction Phoenix is going in emphasizing growth in technology, sustainability, and population. In the newsroom, Amanda Slee, Cronkite News.
Phoenix's Sky Harbor Airport plans to expand and improve facilities over the next 20 years. Airport officials say the expansion is necessary. Just last year, nearly 45 million passengers flew through, and they estimate those numbers will hit 70 million by 2039. Currently, the airport plans to move the cargo facilities to the north side to free up space for the expansion. The Phoenix City Council approved the plan earlier this week and has sent it to the Federal Aviation Administration for further review.
Hundreds of veterans looking for new opportunities came out with resumes in hand to a job fair at Gila River Arena today. More than 65 employers came ready to hire veterans, their spouses, National Guard members, and reservists. The event, put on by Recruit Military, also featured a new Google job search tool for military veterans and their families. Veterans we talked to say having everything in one place is very helpful.
I tried to search for jobs on my own for a long time, and it was a disaster. And now that we've got with this and getting more plugged in with veterans organizations that are helping us, I actually am feeling a lot more confident and much more positive about the whole job experience.
Those summer temperatures are here.
And the hot weather is impacting everyone, especially those who face homelessness. We'll tell you how one nonprofit aims to teach people how to beat the summer heat.
And we'll tell you more about infected mosquitoes in the area and what is being done to stop the spread of this virus next.
Cronkite Noticias is the Spanish-speaking division of Cronkite News, covering topics such as economics, education, sustainability, immigration, and border relations. Cronkite Noticias strives to serve the Spanish-speaking community in Arizona. Under the guidance of prominent Spanish-speaking professionals, students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism develop content for our broadcast partner, Univision, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. Explore Cronkite Noticias at cronkitenoticias.azpbs.org.
By the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Before Professor Halden, I had an insane amount of passion, but I almost felt helpless because I didn't know how to use it. Professor Halden gave me a chance to make a difference. Being at a place like ASU allows you to take these big leaps. Ultimately, the biggest problems in the world cannot.
Cronkite Noticias is the Spanish-speaking division of Cronkite News, covering topics such as economics, education, sustainability, immigration, and border relations. Cronkite Noticias strives to serve the Spanish-speaking community in Arizona. Under the guidance of prominent Spanish-speaking professionals, students at the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism develop content for our broadcast partner, Univision, as well as on Facebook and Twitter. Explore Cronkite Noticias at cronkitenoticias.azpbs.org.
By the year 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish. Before Professor Halden, I had an insane amount of passion, but I almost felt helpless because I didn't know how to use it. Professor Halden gave me a chance to make a difference. being at a place like ASU allows you to take these big leaps. Ultimately, the biggest problems in the world cannot be solved alone.
Then I stumbled across the kids programs and I fell in love with author. I used to be a school teacher. Some of my classes I taught were K through 6. I liked author's approach to how you would teach a moral or how to teach a way to react to a situation. And they always had a moral to the story. So I still watch author quite religiously.
For more information about including Arizona PBS in your future plans, visit azpbs.org/giving.
Stay in the know on the go. At Cronkite News, we work hard to report the facts and keep you updated, whether we're on set or on the scene.
Taking it from the studio to the field. So I'm here in South Phoenix.
In Phoenix, we're just a click away. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, or find us online at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Several counties here in Arizona are still under a heat advisory. If you do have to be outside, there are some ways to stay safe in the heat.
Reporter Tanaya Williamson joins us from the Broadcast Center with how some Valley organizations are helping others beat the heat.
High temperatures often leave people with few options on how to cool down, especially those who are facing homelessness. I visited St. Vincent de Paul to learn how the organization is playing its part in helping people beat the heat.
We're just there for people. If they need to get out, we're available.
Bobby Plattner is the dining room program supervisor at St. Vincent de Paul. The organization has 3 dining rooms between its campuses that are open for people without a place to go to cool down during the hot summer months.
It's a place so that people can come in, get out of the sun, get cooled down. We usually have water, we have TV. A lot of times if we have availability for snacks, we give snacks and stuff.
St. Vincent de Paul hands out upwards of 10,000 bottles of water weekly. It is part of the Heat Relief Network, a regional partnership of the Maricopa Association of Governments designed to provide refuge from high temperatures.
Because having lack of money and financial situations, so it brings me here to eat.
When it's triple digits outside, Richard Cruz also uses St. Vincent de Paul to keep cool.
Outrageous scorching heat, but there's always something to be open like this where you can cool off and drink water, so I'm thankful for that.
For people who think they can stand the heat, you may want to guess again.
These days, when it's 105 or 110 is enough to make people overheat.
Even places that seem to have shade can't protect when the sun is scorching.
Park benches, pavement, sidewalks, those can get to be 160 or 170 degrees, and all it takes is less than a second of exposure and you can get a 2nd or 3rd degree burn.
Should you find yourself outside, Dr. Kevin Foster from the Arizona Burn Center gave a few tips on how to stay safe. Here are a few quick tips for being in the heat. Plan your day and try to do outdoor activities early in the morning or at night. Always have plenty of water because you can't ever have enough. If you must be outside, take breaks and get out of the heat periodically. And if you start to feel too hot, get out of the sun immediately. In the Broadcast Center, Tanaya Williamson, Cronkite News.
The state's largest utility company won't disconnect customers who are behind in their payments, at least for now. Arizona Public Service says it will review its policies over the next month as the summer heat sets in. A 12 News report found disconnections surged last year to more than 110,000. The company says it will work with community organizations and public agencies to find out how best to allow customers to keep their power on.
Mosquitoes are testing positive for the West Nile virus already this year in Maricopa and Pinal County. That's earlier than normal. Usually, West Nile appears after the monsoon season starts, but Maricopa County Vector Control reports there is a spike of infected mosquitoes in the Phoenix area. This map shows all the mosquito traps the agency put in place. The traps are needed because they have already found 220 mosquitoes with the virus in Maricopa County this year. Coming up, we show you a new type of sporting event that's coming soon to Chase Field.
But it's not like any sporting event. It involves lights, high speed, and goggles. We'll tell you what Arizona sports fans are in store for next.
Then I stumbled across the kids programs and I fell in love with author. I used to be a school teacher. Some of my classes I taught were K through 6. I liked author's approach to how you would teach a moral or how to teach a way to react to a situation. And they always had a moral to the story. So I still watch author quite religiously.
For more information about including Arizona PBS in your future plans, visit azpbs.org/giving.
With wildfires, a scarcity of water, and other environmental issues facing the Earth today, it's critical to stay up to date with local impacts of a changing climate. That's why we created Elemental, Covering Sustainability, a multimedia collaboration between public television and radio stations. From climate change to water conservation to renewable energy and much more, Elemental covers the latest in sustainability news. Find our stories on our website, elementalreports.com.
As journalists at Cronkite News, we report on stories that matter to you by focusing on the local impact. We dig deeper and work tirelessly to keep you informed.
Live in Wickerburg.
Live in Los Angeles. In Cleveland. In Washington. In Louisville.
From Jerusalem. Live in Philadelphia. From around the world to right here in Phoenix.
At Cronkite News, we report the facts and stick to the truth.
Arizona Snowbowl Ski Resort wants to expand its services for the public.
Officials say they plan to spend $60 million upgrading the resort. These upgrades include night skiing and tubing, new chairlifts and mountain biking trails, as well as a zip line. Snowbowl General Manager J.R. Murray says the plan could boost visitation over 600 more people than current numbers. Murray also says the earliest the new services could start would be 2021. In the past, Snowbowl faced challenges with Native Americans as they believe the mountain is sacred. The resort recently lost in a legal battle that prevented them from snowmaking.
The snowpack that led to a lot of skiing in the Rocky Mountains is now melting. It's flowing into rivers along the southwest, including the Colorado River, the Rio Grande, and other waterways. It's a big change after a very dry 2018. Federal officials say last winter there was a better than 50% chance of a shortage in the Colorado River in 2020. That could have meant less water for Arizona, which has low priority rights. Officials now say the shortage might be put off until after 2021. It doesn't look like skiers are going to use Arizona Snowbowl anytime soon.
Not with this heat. Bane Froney has more about our Valley weather update.
It is definitely hot out there. We are in the thick of our summer temperatures. We're currently going to be at triple digits all week long. Right now in Phoenix, we're at 107 degrees. Let's take a look at the rest of the state. Up in the north, they're feeling those nice and warm temperatures as well. Mid to high 80s as well as some 90s. In the south, they're also feeling those triple digits with us. Later tonight, we'll be cooling down here in Phoenix. By 10 o'clock, we'll be back in those double digits, 97 degrees. Still pretty warm, so be sure to be prepared for that. Tomorrow morning, we're also going to be back down into those mid 80s, but then by 2 o'clock, we'll be back to 102 degrees. So still pretty warm and sunny all throughout the day. This weekend, we're also going to be pretty sunny with some clouds on Sunday. We're going to be seeing those triple digits throughout the entire weekend, so if you're planning something outdoors, be sure to stay hydrated throughout the entire weekend. The rest of the week is also pretty sunny. Monday, we're going to be seeing some clouds, but that should clear up by Tuesday and all the way through the rest of the week. Live in the Weather Center, I'm Bane Froney, Cronkite News.
The D-back Stadium is hosting another type of sporting event that involves pilots, goggles, and fast racing. They will be hosting their first ever drone racing league. This experience has pilots racing custom-made drones that could reach up to speeds of 90 miles an hour. This race will be on September 8th at 7:30 p.m. Tickets will be available Monday on Ticketmaster.com. Coming up, keeping ancient forms of art alive is no easy feat.
But one local ceramic artist is doing just that. We'll share how he's carrying on the memory of Indian nations here in the Valley.
I'm Judy Woodruff, anchor and managing editor of the PBS NewsHour. The journalists of tomorrow face a fast-changing media landscape, but quality news remains vitally important to our communities, our country, and our world. At ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication, students learn solid, reliable reporting, holding the powerful accountable, and rebuilding the public's trust. The Cronkite School and Arizona PBS, preparing the next generation for a stronger future of journalism.
Here at Cronkite News, we have producers who craft shows that make an impact on our community. Our broadcasts allow students to be involved in all levels of production, from producing to directing. We are guided by highly respected professionals who mentor the journalists of tomorrow. From technical directing to teleprompting and beyond, our production crew works tirelessly to produce meaningful and award-winning shows. We are Cronkite News on Arizona PBS.
Join us each week on Catalyst, the show that explores new advancements, technologies, and innovations at Arizona State University that are shaping the future for tomorrow and beyond. Catalyst, Wednesdays at 9, right here on Arizona PBS.
I was impressed how expansive the children's educational program is. I had no idea. Teachers go over the entire state reading books to children in both Spanish and English if they don't understand, so that the parents can teach their children what the value of reading a book is. I had no idea that you did that. You know, that in and of itself is spectacular.
For more information about including Arizona PBS in your future plans, visit azpbs.org/giving.
Millions of people die every year from drinking dirty water. I would never have felt I had the ability to do something without ASU pushing me. We built filtration systems out of local materials with the people. To see those kids drink clean water for the first time, it's the most rewarding feeling that you can ever have. I went to ASU because I wanted to change the world. The thing I never would have expected is how the world would have changed me.
I'm Matt Berry, ESPN Sports Center anchor and graduate of ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication. With its bachelor's and master's degrees in sports journalism, the Cronkite School is preparing the next generation of sports journalists to tell stories that matter, stories that excite, inspire, and inform. Cronkite immerses students in covering sports at all levels in one of the country's top sports markets. It's this hands-on experience under the guidance of award-winning sports media veterans that shape the top journalists of tomorrow.
The tradition of making pottery is sacred to many Native American tribes.
Cronkite News reporter Karina Espinoza introduces us to one man who keeps that tradition alive.
Through his hands, Ron Carlos carries the memory of the Pima and Maricopa Indian nations. He's been a ceramic artist for 25 years, originally motivated by his mother, who pushed him to keep this ancient art form alive.
Clay played a big part in life a long time ago. But over time, you know, the Americans and the Spanish that came through, they start bringing metal objects and that eventually start replacing clay. But we as a people are made out of clay. That's what our creation tells us too.
The history of pottery is one that covers thousands of years, part of it captured at the new exhibit at Phoenix Pueblo Grande Museum. Pottery pieces from the Tohono O'odham, Hopi, and Zuni tribes are on display, some of them telling the story of its people and the lives they lived so many years ago.
You get to come in and you get to kind of recreate a piece that was, you know, existing thousands of years ago, and now it's in its entirety, and it's just a cool way of kind of walking around it, getting a really good 3D image of what it looks like and how large some of these pieces actually were.
These fragments have been found in different parts of Arizona, like Tucson, Phoenix, Casa Grande, and Flagstaff. Museum curator Lindsay Volgo-Teeter says that these kinds of pieces are invaluable to archaeologists.
I think it's a really powerful reason, an example of why we need to preserve the objects that are here, because once they're gone forever.
For current pottery artists like Ron Carlos, he hopes that this will help in keeping interest alive towards an ancient tradition that he doesn't want to see lost.
I'm probably the last one that makes pottery all the time. And there's a few others that know how to make pottery, they just don't. And so I try to teach all the time But that's because of the way they think like Americans. They want everything to be ideal and perfect and pristine, and it doesn't always come out like that. Sometimes the clay wants to do what it wants to do.
In Phoenix, Karina Espinoza, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News is proud to be the news division of Arizona PBS. Here's what's coming up on Arizona Horizon and PBS NewsHour.
On the next Arizona Horizon, Sedona is out with the state's first sustainable tourism plan. And a local middle school teacher wins a national science competition involving microgravity. It's the next Arizona Horizon.
I'm Judy Woodruff. On the next NewsHour, former Texas Representative Beto O'Rourke, the latest in our conversations with Democratic presidential hopefuls. That's Thursday on the PBS NewsHour.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.
For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org.